Men going their own way are disrupting the economy. Men going their own way are disrupting the economy. Guys, men are not playing around anymore and women are pissed off. Watch the end of the video to fully understand how men going their own way are disrupting the economy, what this means for women and society. And now let's just go ahead and jump into the video. Today's video is being brought to us by Manosphere Highlights Daily, and his channel will be linked in the description.
Are you there?
At your service, sir.
Enter the Manosphere.
Of course. How can I assist you today?
Give me some of that dating foolishness.
Will do, sir.
For Sarah, it's been nearly a year since she lost $100,000. She now knows the scammer who conned her could have been absolutely anyone, male or female. Either way, he was definitely not the man in the photos. While the New South Wales Police Fraud Squad is investigating, she's already been told her money is gone.
Welcome to Manosphere Highlights Daily. Shout out to Mr. Beam for sending us this video. Salute! It's from the 60 Minutes Australia, titled Human Trafficking Victims Tortured into Scamming Innocent People. Now the crazy part about this video is the focus on romance scams, where women are tricked out of their money. This woman in particular lost $100K. But what's most fascinating here isn't just the scam itself, it's how these scammers pull it off by using the psychology of attraction.
I have never had a phone call with a victim where they don't say, Aaron, I want you to know I'm really a smart person. And I'm like, oh, I know you're smart, but you are no match for the psychological techniques that are being used against you.
Psychological techniques that are being used against you. You mean kind of like how women have been using, and tricking men into giving them their money for a long time, making men believe that, hey, if you go out with me on a date, and spend lots of money on me, you're going to get lucky. But the reality is that's never going to happen. For example, guys, if a woman goes on a date and she wants to go to a steakhouse, an expensive steakhouse, and stuff her face with steak, you're not going to get lucky that night. She's going to be gassy and need to poop afterwards. Okay? She's taking advantage of you. And she's basically making it clear that, you're just basically that guy. You're just there to be used for your assets, to use for your wealth and resources. And then when she's done with you. Or she may keep you around and use you indefinitely. But don't expect anything from her. She does not even like you. I go over these facts and I try to teach because I love teaching. I love teaching about life. Guys, I'm a student. I love to learn and I also love to teach. And the truth is that, in this world, the best teachers are some to end up becoming some of the best students. In our community, what we are doing here is we're actually learning together. We're actually learning together. And it's hard. It is absolutely difficult sometimes to accept the reality of things, but we have to. And when I explain to you the way that women think and the way that women operate sometimes, many of you don't believe me. You think that women are virtuous. Guys, you don't know the things that I know about women. You don't know the things. I cannot even tell you some of the things that I know about women, that I've learned from women. And I cannot tell you these things for certain reasons. Okay? But if only walls could talk. The way that women live, the games that women play, the things that, how it's like in so many women, it's literally like there is no concept of right and wrong at times. Like a lot, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that women do not have a conscience, but many of them have surrendered said conscience. I feel like women have to be taught these things. They have to be taught wrong and right, and then they have to be taught how to have a conscience. And I believe that empathy is something that also has to be taught to women because it does not come naturally. You see, women will sympathize, but they cannot empathize very well, especially with men. Okay? And I think we often mistake sympathy for empathy. Empathy, it does not mean empathy does not mean sympathizing. Okay? Empathy means being able to relate to someone else. For example, Gen Zers, they don't have empathy. They can, just like the baby boomers, they cannot relate to others, especially others from outside of their generation. It's just how they are. Baby boomers have always been about me, 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 me. They can't relate to others, but they can form a mob to get what they want from others. That's just how they operate. Women have a hard time empathizing with others, especially with men, but they can form a mob and organize themselves to get what they want. This is the reality of things. It's a very sad thing. And it's like a lot of guys just don't want to understand how women actually think. For example, I'll have some guys who tell me, no, I know my wife loves me. Why? My wife would never cheat on me. My wife, I got one of the good ones. I've been married for over 20 years, okay? And if I try to correct them, they'll start talking crap to me, and then that's when they want to say stuff like, listen, boy. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what's gonna happen, right? You're gonna come back when you get screwed over, all right? And I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but very often it does. And then you'll come back, you'll say, I don't know what happened. Just like she just changed on me one day. She just changed. Like everything was going well. We had 30 years of bliss, and then she just changed one day, and I got the divorce papers, and it was like a switch went off. And of course, these guys will sit there and they'll go, I don't understand. And they'll go insane. Some of these guys will go insane because their poor guy brains cannot comprehend this, because they're trying to understand women through a lens of male psychology, of facts. But they don't understand that women defy conventional thinking. Only when you understand how they operate can you then begin to understand, and how women think. Only then can you begin to comprehend what they will do. I've said it countless times, and to be very clear, most content creators do not give you this knowledge. I don't think I've ever heard another content creator explain the way women think as clearly as I have, and continue to explain this. Women do not reason using facts. Women reason using feelings. All right? Emotions are a currency for women. So, as a man, when you have a problem in life or you're trying to make a decision and come to a conclusion, you will look at the facts. Now, don't get me wrong. At times, your feelings and your fears and a variety of other things can influence your decisions. However, men overall are logical by nature. We're going to look at the facts as best we can. We don't always get it right. And sometimes we don't have enough knowledge, parameters to judge things, but we try to use reason based around based around fact-based thinking. Women reason using feelings. So they reason around feeling-based thinking. Feelings replace facts for women. This is the reason why a woman could say something along the lines of she wants a guy with all of these qualities that does not exist. The reality is that she is not reasoning using facts. She's reasoning using feelings, and then she'll say she doesn't care in the end, even if she's confronted with the reality that no such a man exists. She'll ultimately say she doesn't care anymore, because society never holds women accountable for anything. She'll just blame men. This is how the world works. Women are no longer forced to be accountable for anything because they can just blame men. They can blame men, they can blame God, they can blame whomever they choose to. The only way things will ever change is if women have to face consequences. That's the only way women will learn anything, is through consequences. Men learn very, very quickly their position in life and what the world actually thinks of them. Okay? Women, on the other hand, they're given a pass through life, a lot of times well into their 50s and 60s. And then when they get very, very old, that's when they basically are confronted with the realities of life and hardships that come with it. Some women are basically able to, do well enough in life so that they can do okay in retirement. But a lot of women don't, especially single women, women who basically choose to remain childless and single, and it's basically hell on earth for them because they've been excluded from the family unit, and now they want men to provide for them and men to help them, but there's no one that will provide to them, and there's no one that will help them, and they'll sit there suffering silently in many cases, and everyone around them thinks that they're doing very well, and they're not. You don't even realize just how broke a lot of these little old ladies are. Okay, so guys, when I was growing up, a lot of the little old ladies, there were some poor little old ladies, but a lot of them were doing much better than the boomer women are, because they actually had to suffer in life, they actually had to struggle in life, but they also had the family unit, and the family unit is very, very important. Women who do not have a family unit to go back to, those are the ones that suffer the most. Those are the ones that suffer the most. Another important analysis to make is that single mothers, a lot of them, when they raise kids, they try to like portray the children of single mothers as turning out well. They don't. Most single mothers, especially in minority communities, raise children that end up not doing very well in life. And as a result of that, they themselves end up suffering later on when they need help, when they need someone to turn to, because those children are not functional adults. They absolutely are not.
They are brainwashing techniques.
These guys know exactly what women find attractive, and they weaponize it. So today, we're gonna break down the process these scam artists use and talk about what makes women fall for it, why it works. Let's get into it.
You feel disgusted with yourself and ashamed for letting this happen.
Last year, 45-year-old Sarah found herself alone after a 20-year relationship ended.
You see, guys, there's a thing called stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. And women don't understand that men and women are different. Women typically go for men based on value. They go for men based on what the man can provide. Is he a good provider? Is he a good protector? Of course, she does not love that man. Okay? When a woman chooses a good man, that does not mean that she loves him. That just means that she was smart enough to choose someone who can provide and protect. And over time, she may come to like him. But especially in Western society, these women don't like these men. These women don't want these men. Okay? A lot of dudes don't understand that, women, when they break up with a man after like 50 years, like after 40 or 50 years of marriage, that's something she had already planned a long time ago. She was already tired of that man. She had divorced that man mentally a long time ago. Very, very long time ago. She had divorced that man mentally long ago, but she wasn't ready to exit the marriage yet because she still had to set her up. She still had to set herself up. And either she was just too lazy and comfortable, or she liked the arrangement because the man wasn't really around. She had multiple men on the side, and he was getting what he wants. He thinks that, he has this loving wife, especially like some guys who are like, they travel and they go away for work. These men don't even realize these women have had, multiple guys. Those children aren't theirs. And when she finally does pull the plug, on the relationship, he's thinking that his wife, this is coming out of left field. Men don't understand how women operate. Men don't understand how women think, and a lot of men don't care. They only care when their lives get messed up and they want to come talk to angry. And the same guys that were out here trying to call me boy, now they want to call me brother. No, you don't come here and call me brother. You all right? You're talking crap to me? Really, you should never show your face before me ever again. But if you dare to stand before me and step before me, because I don't want to see you, you put senpai on my name. Okay? All right? You put sama on my name. You don't bring me this bull crap. You don't bring me this nonsense. Because when I told you what female nature is, you didn't want to listen. And now you are forced to listen.
It had been decades since she'd even dated, so she was nervous about doing it the modern way on a dating app.
This is Daniel.
On Tinder, she met Daniel. Good looking and a world traveller, the pair struck up a friendship.
What was so believable about Daniel?
I don't think there wasn't anything that wasn't believable. His photos looked genuine. There was no reason for me to not believe who I was looking at wasn't who he was.
Right off the bat, we're hit with the shiny surface level appeal. Good looking muscular Chad, the perfect world traveler. Now, let's break that down. World travel isn't just about taking vacations. It signals adventure, status, and most importantly, wealth. This guy is not just some average Joe. He must be an entrepreneur, or at least that's what she believes. And of course, he's on Tinder because dating apps have become the norm. It's modern society. It is what it is. But here's the thing. We all know, and the romance scammers know too. She's not swiping right on some average looking guy. No, 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 no. This woman is 45 years old. And it doesn't matter what age these women are. They're always going to chase after Chad and she wants to believe everything about this Chad because he's got the look. If he was unattractive or gave off creepy vibes, she'd be skeptical. But no, because pretty privilege is real.
Very quickly, they were messaging multiple times every day. Sarah was keen to keep Daniel at arm's length, but he simply wouldn't let up.
I mean, look at all these.
Yeah, there was just a bombardment of messages, really. When I think back and look back as we are now, yeah, there was just a lot of communication on his end.
So was this every morning?
Every morning, every night, even in the afternoons.
Here's something very intriguing about this, guys. We already know as seasoned vets that usually it's best not to spend all day messaging back and forth with a woman. However, if a woman is really into you, then she's going to want, she breaks all the rules. Because in the end, she knows that this man is better than her. Okay? And as a result of that, she is desperate for his attention. Okay? So he's going to basically play this game because he wants to get that money. He wants to honestly get that money. And that's exactly what he's done. And she put herself in the situation. If a man goes out there and they end up losing all of their money to some woman who was, just to a gold digger, a lot of men won't even cry for him because he put himself in that situation. And don't get me wrong, not all men can see a gold digger coming a mile away. Although a lot of men, if they know what to look for, they can realize she's a gold digger. I was watching this video by what's the name of his channel? The Desirable Truth. And there was this girl on there, and she was with this guy. Dude is not a Chad. He was tall, and the girl looked maybe Indian. I don't know. She was cute. She was pretty, really pretty. But when the guy was asked how much money did you spend on the ring, he asked the girl. The girl was like, "How much was it?" And the guy basically kept on cutting her off, and he didn't want her to talk. And he reveals that it was like $50,000. And then he goes, "She deserves even more than that." And when he's asked, "Why would you spend $50,000 on a ring?" And he's like, "Well, I'm getting someone who's going to be with me for the rest of my life. The sex is great," and all of this other bullshit. He's spouting all of this sim crap. She makes me happy, and I'm thinking about it, and basically, but dude, you don't need to spend $50,000. And there were people, and every time the interviewer tried to ask her a question, he would cut off the interviewer because he didn't want her to tell on herself. Because if you give a woman enough, if you let a woman speak for long enough, she will tell on herself. And it was a load of stupidity. And there were women and simps in the comments saying that, this is a real man. When the interviewer is trying to start up shit, the man steps in and he says, "Stop it. I've got this." And he's not going to allow the interviewer to break them up. Guys, how rich is this? This guy was in his 20s. Looked like he was in about his 20s, late 20s, maybe. Tell me very carefully, how many real millionaires are going to spend that kind of money on a wedding ring? Because you don't know the millionaires that I know. You don't know some of these dudes that are living very, very cheap. If your net worth is $2 million, why the hell are you spending $50,000 on a wedding ring? Like, you have to be a complete fucking idiot to spend $50,000 on a wedding ring. If you guys, and guys, if he's spending $50,000 on a wedding ring, how much money do you think he spent, or he will spend on the actual wedding? $100,000, $200,000? Yeah. Oh, but it's okay. It's okay, because we're gonna be together forever. And here's the thing: I do not have a shred of hatred towards women in my body. I do not hate women. Okay, I'll make it very, very clear. But as a man, you have to be aware of society and reality. I was watching and understanding that these marriages may not last forever, and the amount of money you just spent is so significant that it could be transformative for almost anyone, that it's ridiculous. Just because you have it doesn't mean you should be wasting it or putting it out there like that. You know, here's something that I've heard about some women, like in the Philippines. The idea of receiving not even a 50, but an expensive wedding ring is absolutely insane for a lot of Filipinas. Right? Now, don't get me wrong. There are horror stories where men give the Filipina their life savings and she blows the whole thing. And that's the fault of these men. However, and let me make it very clear, big however, most women, a lot of women in other countries, as long as they're not completely shattered with Western influence, like women in China, and you have to understand, China is a very westernized country, then the notion of receiving expensive things is very foreign to them, because it doesn't make any sense. A lot of men are so far gone that they don't get it, and the woman that they're with, she should be smart enough. If she really was into that person, if she's really into this type of person, she needs to make it very clear to them that she doesn't tolerate crazy spending. Like, she won't tolerate crazy spending in the marriage. Okay? For example, imagine that you're marrying a woman and you don't want her someone who's constantly making your life miserable. Because there's some women who are very frugal. But at the same time, you're with a woman who's always watching your pockets. And when I say watching your pockets, I don't mean watching your pockets for what she can get out of them, but watching your pockets to make sure you're not overspending, because that's the way she was raised. Do you really think most men are going to let go of a woman who is telling them to spend less? Use your heads. Do you really think that that's going to happen? No. The truth is, most men are going to look at that woman with more respect. I'm just shaking my head. I'm just shaking my head at this moment.
Where's good morning, beautiful? Did you sleep well last night? 8:10 a.m., 8:12 a.m. Do you have any plans today? And then, obviously,
A good morning picture.
yeah.
What woman doesn't want to be pursued by Chad? If she wasn't into these constant messages, why didn't she block him? Simple. Because she loved the attention. He's sending her pictures of himself, and you know what she's doing with these pictures, right? She's showing them off to her friends, along with some of these sweet messages. And I guarantee you, that's making her feel real good.
Can you make me feel good? Can you make me feel good?
It's all part of the game. This tactic is highly effective, especially when you realize that nearly 1 in 4 adults are lonely.
Guys, these women are, if you notice, these women are not beautiful women. They are not beautiful women. And if a man is, like, for example, going out and getting some young girl, a lot of people turn around and say, bro, you are totally taken advantage of right now. You're like, this is a gold digger. She just wants you for your money. But if a woman goes out and gets this young hot Chad, and she's like, oh, she believes, it doesn't matter what she looks like, she believes that she deserves this man. She's not, what do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the table, Felicia? I'm highly successful. I have my master's degree, and any man would be lucky to have me. All the while, she's like a 4, or in some cases even a 2. But because of the way society operates, she thinks that she's a 13. Absolutely ridiculous, and it's crazy. And then they fall for it. They fall for it.
So getting intimate texts from Chad every morning, afternoon, and evening is like an emotional boost, a hit of validation that she's craving. Look at these messages. Good morning, beautiful. Did you sleep well last night? I say that with a wink and a lot of love. Do you have any plans for today? These are messages that show legit interest, or at least they feel like it. But here's the kicker. After each of these texts, he sends a picture of himself looking all charming. This is pure gold. The psychological impact of a Chad, a Prince Charming, showing genuine interest in a 45-year-old woman taps directly into that Disney princess fantasy. These scammers are playing perfectly into the Disney fantasy.
It started as a possible romance, but over a few weeks, the tone changed so subtly, Sarah didn't even realise she was being duped into a cryptocurrency scam. How did the conversation shift from a friendship and friendly chat to investing, money, and crypto?
Yeah, that's a good question. When I look back, it wasn't there at the beginning at all, but then it did become part of the conversation.
You see, guys, this is something that a lot of the MGTOWs have said for a long time. Women are gullible. Women are gullible. And this is something that, and this is how regimes take advantage and destroy society. They always go, this is how tyrants take over society and destroy society. They always target the women. They always target the women because the women are the easiest to fool. You know, I mean, look at the quote. I've read this quote to you a million times. I'll read it again. This comes from George Orwell's 1984. It was always the women, and above all, the young ones, who were the most bigoted adherents of the party, the swallowers of slogans, the amateur spies. Okay, look at modern day society. But look at how women operate in modern day society. They operate as agents of the state. Okay, and their primary job is to reallocate wealth and resources from men into the state. And they can do it any way they like, through divorce court, through family court, through criminal court, through civil court. Doesn't matter. However, the state doesn't care, because at the end of the day, when all is said and done, the state gets paid, because the state gets a cut of all of the money. So the state sees it as an incentive. They see it as an incentive to basically find these men guilty or whatever, because they want their cut. If men pay 80% of all taxes, women make 80% of all consumer purchases. So the state is incentivized to do whatever it takes to get that money out of men. Okay? Because men are the ones who create value in society. That's how it really works.
I suppose a small part of me, it sparked an interest in, okay, let's learn this side of him.
Sadly, we now know this was all part of Daniel's devastating trap.
So is this the first time he's mentioned?
That's correct. Yes.
And I guess he's shown how much money he's made there.
That's right.
When did you start dabbling in it?
Maybe in a couple of weeks after those initial messages, because he was quite persistent at it.
This is pure gold.
She left her husband for the streets. Guys, these women create problems in their relationships. They get bored of their husbands. They call their husbands deadwood. They're the ones who don't even. They're like, oh, the guy is deadwood. The reality is, he's not deadwood, sweetie. You just don't want to sleep with him. Like, you need to accept for yourself. You are not attracted physically to your husband. You do not want to be physical with that man. All right. In some cases, like, bro, you hate that man. You need to accept that you don't like that man. You don't want to be with that man. Stop making up excuses, all right? But women will convince themselves of anything so they can basically do whatever they want and not feel bad about it.
Missed it? Are you freaking kidding me? You see how women frame and shift the blame onto men to avoid accountability? Classic. Women love money. They always want to know if a man is loaded and willing to spend that money on her.
Show me the money!
That's a universal truth. Recently, we covered the book, Why Men Love Bitches, and the author talks about this exact strategy, calling it the dumb fox approach. Janice, read.
The beauty is that the dumb fox is agreeable, tactful, and always polite, so he thinks he's in control, even though he isn't. Even though the dumb fox appears oblivious, she is very aware. It's no different than a successful business negotiation. 1. She doesn't spell out where she's coming from. 2. She's prepared to walk away when the terms aren't favorable to her. The dumb fox does both, without words. She negotiates with her willingness, or lack thereof, to participate. If the offer sounds good, she says I'd love to. If the offer doesn't sound good, she answers, I'd love to, but I'm pooped. She responds favorably when he behaves like a gentleman and backs off subtly if his manners fall short.
Now let's bring that back to our situation here. This woman isn't doing anything she does not want to do. She's 45 years old and she wants to believe that a Chad of this magnitude is chasing after her. The foolishness. This is why we always say women break the rules for Chad and this fantasy of being with Prince Charming
and little Poncho. Let's not forget little Poncho with that fat little belly and that chipped tooth. Let's not forget little Poncho. All right then.
Drives them wild.
Daniel persuaded Sarah to download a crypto trading app called CoinSpot, a legitimate platform. It was all part of tricking Sarah and making her feel comfortable with the process. Did you just tip your toe in to begin with?
Definitely.
How much did you invest?
It was a small amount. It was a small amount of $500 to begin with until I started to see what a return on that could be.
So you're seeing yourself making money. Were you actually withdrawing any of that cash? Were you actually seeing a profit?
Yes, I could do both. I could withdraw and make a profit. And that seemed a reasonable risk to take at that stage.
Trust is fully established now. Just like in a casino, they give you a little win first, a small profit, so you get that dopamine hit, making you feel invincible. Then you're hooked. You keep coming back, trying to capture that feeling, only to lose more and more each time. This is psychological manipulation at its finest. They know exactly what they're doing.
But it was the next exchange account that Daniel told Sarah to use that was the moment she started to, unwittingly, transfer her hard-earned savings straight into the scammer's hands. It was a fake copy of a real website.
When the money was distributed to this second exchange, that was where the mistake was.
It's pretty heinous and calculated.
Absolutely, but they know what they're doing. He was so convincing.
This is pure gold. He was so convincing. Chad wins again. Oh my goodness. And here's the kicker. She never even met this man in person. She's a victim of her own desperation. What's wild is, with the way technology has evolved, scammers now use live deepfake video calls to create a fake real-time experience. But this woman didn't even get to that level. They'd only been talking for a few weeks and she's already down 100K. The foolishness. That's how deep her desperation was. And apparently she's not alone. There are millions like her out there. Check this out.
What Sarah didn't know was that she was about to join a global list of victims who last year lost $75 billion to the criminal syndicates running highly organised scam factories across Southeast Asia.
Figured out.
Erin's managed to hand back to local victims more than $2 million she's retrieved in stolen cryptocurrency. But it's a pittance compared to the $50 billion Americans lost to romance scams last year. With such brutal financial losses, there's an equally vicious nickname the criminals have chosen for their new global enterprise. They call it pig butchering.
You know what's very interesting about all of this, y'all? Women may have dominance in the dating game, relationship market, but outside of that, men are the bosses. For example, I can spot a crypto scam a mile away. Guys, I'm that guy who gets an email from like someone like, "Hey, we want you to join our network." Ah, you fucking scammer. Look at this scammer. He's so fucking cute. Where are you from? Pakistan, bro? Listen, man, good luck with that. Good luck with that. You see, guys, you have to have the thing about men is we tend to when it comes to business, and don't get me wrong, some guys are idiots. When it comes to things outside of relationships, a lot of guys think more critically. Unfortunately, guys start to think with their hearts in relationships instead of thinking transactionally. If you treat a relationship like a business, you can quickly then assess the value and whether it's not worth it or not. A lot of men will not take this advice. A lot of men will basically say that they're not going to listen to me and that I'm full of shit, because they want the Disney thing. If there's no love in the marriage, then or in the relationship, then it will never last. Bro, if there is no money in the relationship, it will never last. Okay? If there is no common sense and reasoning in the relationship, it will never last. She never loved you. It was just your turn. All right? She was never yours. She was never yours. And this is what a lot of men refuse to understand. These guys, they basically end up in states of destitution and poverty. And guys, I've realized that with some men, they're a lost cause. They're a complete lost cause. When I have men who come and pop up and tell me that, they have they have four kids by three different baby mamas, or they've been married 6 times, and exes, two of those ex-wives are previous remarries. So they married four different women and remarried two of them twice. And, and remarried them, and married two of them twice. That's crazy. That's crazy. These are men who don't learn their lessons. These are men who are a danger to themselves and the world around them. It's no wonder that MGTOW is disrupting the economy and women are beginning to struggle now financially. The reason why guys like this, like old Chad right here, could do what he's doing is because good men are walking away and they're basically leaving these terrible guys out here to do this type of thing. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
Pig by developing close personal relationships and developing a trust and a warmth, and then we're going to take everything from that victim and then we are going to slaughter them.
This is a tactic women have used on men for ages, convincing them to part with their resources, playing on their desire to feel connected and appreciated. It's always been part of the game, but today the stakes are higher. In modern times, the need for women to be validated, seen, and loved by Chad has turned into a multi-billion-dollar industry. And guess what? It's only going to get worse from here. As artificial intelligence gets more advanced, scammers will be able to exploit even deeper psychological vulnerabilities. We're entering a new era. Better buckle up.
Run! Get to the chopper!
But this is endemic. It's happening to so many people, and I don't think people are realising what's going on. If I can make someone aware that this is potentially happening to someone right now, then I think that's a big part of my message.
What harm have they had on you?
You lose your confidence in yourself and your trust in people.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, like her husband, guys, she truly, at 45 years old, she thought that she deserved basically a supermodel. Okay? Unbelievable. And look how easy it was for him. Let me make it clear. I don't think she's a bad looking woman. Granted, a lot of it is makeup. But she seemed to think that she deserved a Chad. She deserved the Tyrone. Okay? And look at the reality of it. We don't deserve anything in this world. None of us deserve anything. They don't. Women refuse to accept that men look for women based on fertility, okay, and vitality. Women who are fit, feminine, and friendly, youthfulness. That's how men look for women. And women are now coming up with these schemes saying that, it's nature, it's not nature, it's society why men want younger women, and it's because men are taught to desire younger women, not because they actually want them. It's misogyny. Like, they're literally at that point right now. And again, like I said, women rationalize using feelings, not facts. So they'll believe whatever makes them feel right, whatever feelings they agree with. They'll basically rationalize those feelings and then turn those feelings into facts, even if it goes against nature, even if it goes against reason. It does not matter, and they will stay on that hill until the very end. And the best they will do, the best you can get for them, is they'll simply say that they were victims. They will never ever acknowledge their role in any of what they've done. You have, for example, another case where these women, they would go to this Chad to get them pregnant. So they basically turned to a sperm bank, and they began choosing a Chad sperm, and they began using his sperm to get pregnant. And then they basically find out that hundreds of other women were also using this Chad sperm. And when they got the Chad sperm, they knew that it was going quickly, because like they were basically told by the sperm bank that, hey, the vials of this Chad sperm are going quickly. Women are taking the sperm and using the sperm to get pregnant. So they knew that the sperm was going quickly. So they finally get some of the sperm. Artificial insemination. So they use the sperm to get pregnant, and then fast forward, a couple of years or a decade, and what ends up happening? Because this guy's been doing this for a long time, since he was like in his 20s. A man can remain a Chad for a very long time. What ends up happening? They discover that their children are living just in proximity of other children who, born to women who also use this Chad sperm. And now it's a very dangerous issue, because their children could end up getting into relationships with their siblings, half siblings. And if that happens, it could result in serious genetic issues. We already know that, you're not supposed to have children with a sibling, or even or a cousin, even at that matter, because it can create serious genetic issues. But now they're crying, and then also there's the whole stigma now around, the people who use this guy's sperm, and these women are now threatening lawsuits and violence, and saying all the terrible things they would do to this man if they ever found him. And if you look at the women who use the sperm, they basically, none of these women are tens. Put it that way. I'm just basically saying they didn't think to stay in their own lanes. These women are not tens. A lot of these women are maybe twos and threes, and they decided that they wanted to have children by a man who was a 10, and then, or 9 or a 10, and then they get pissed off when they discovered that, his genetic material, which he was giving away for free, he basically gave it to tons and tons of women. Women chose to use it, and now they all want to go after him. That makes no sense. Basically, they have buyer's remorse because he's not exclusive to them. Do you see the logic of this? And they're presenting themselves as victims. And the news is going after the men. This is a joke. We're good men, guys. Right now, the big thing for men and the manosphere is basically walking away, living your best life, and learning how to be alone. Not spending money on women, but instead spending that money on yourself. That's what's really going down right now.
Welcome to Manosphere Highlights Daily. This is a video from 60 Minutes Australia. Love tourists, single men traveling overseas to find a bride. And this video is actually from 2011, before the Russian-Ukrainian war, but also before the whole passport bro phenomenon.
Guys, it's very interesting how the world was different, but it's also, the more things change, the more they remain the same. So many women thought they didn't need men, they don't need their husbands, they could do whatever they want, and now You're getting a dose of reality.
Because it highlights the foundation of why men have always taken their talents overseas to find a wife. It solidifies that this isn't new. Men have always traveled for this.
The bride business is booming as men from all corners of the globe flock here in search of love.
Probably the most beautiful women you ever seen.
So while a lot has changed in the last 13 years, the foundation of the passport bro remains the same.
Yeah, guys, these white guys were not messing around. These white guys weren't messing around. The first passport kings were the white guys. I'm not saying that there weren't black guys who were doing it too, but the vast majority of these kings were white guys. They laid the foundation for what the black guys are now, making are now making popular. Okay, but the white guys were doing it going back to like 100 years ago. Listen to me. A lot of those men who came to the new world, they weren't just trying to find new opportunities. They were trying to find their Pocahontas too. They're trying to find their Pocahontas too.
Guess what? What also remains the same is that women are women first. This video shows that. Let's break it down.
Now it's time for us to get into this and do what we gotta do. Because we men, ain't we? We men, ain't we?
Owen Williams has come from Western Australia to give Cupid one more chance. So far, he's not disappointed.
The caliber of the women over here is unreal.
Owen is 45 years old, divorced, and so far unlucky in love.
I had a relationship which didn't go too well for me at the start of the year, and that was it preempted me to think further abroad.
It always starts with a problem or challenge a man is facing. Men don't just wake up one day and decide, I'm out. Owen, for example, was married at one point, and after that, he had to go back on the dating market without finding what he was looking for. So, what is he looking for?
What are you looking for?
Essentially, I'm looking for someone that's going to be my wife, mother of my children, the mistress of my life, lover, and the other woman. Just all in one woman, though.
There's a lot of boxes to tick there.
Oh, yes.
I'm in the Ukraine looking for a girl that's sort of got some old-fashioned values. I just haven't found them in the circles that I've been working around in Australia.
What's wrong with the women at home?
Oh, different things. I've been cheated on, lied to, done different things to. Not just one time, but I mean, a couple of lessons have cost me a lot of money. And that's what I'm sort of looking for, a bit more honesty, integrity.
So it's fair to say you've been burned?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yep. The classic story of a man who played with fire and got burned. When he got burned, he learned a valuable lesson about women. Check this out.
This is not your friend, and it's not going to be your friend for many, many years. And so I always say, instead of approaching this as though you're divorcing a friend, you need to do it as though this is a business dispute where a business is being split and each of you are going your ways. You need to ask for everything that you feel entitled to.
Women are not the angels they were advertised to be. And in modern times, women have no shame in showing their true colors. The guys who treat women the best are often the ones who get burned the most.
Because if you don't feel in love, then who cares if he's the good guy?
And unfortunately, that's the majority of men. Men are waking up to this. That's why this space keeps growing, because they are looking for answers, solutions. So what happens next? Fool me once, fool me twice. Once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. But the desire to be with the opposite sex remains. And that's totally normal, guys. We're human. This is where you determine if the juice is worth the squeeze. All we offer is the truth. In this case, these men opt for foreign women with traditional values. That's their solution. That's the juice they think is worth squeezing. Now, if you decide to take your talents overseas, you'll learn some more valuable lessons about women.
These young women dancing with men old enough to be their fathers, can we genuinely believe that they're interested in them?
One of the questions I ask is, what kind of man are you looking for? And the response is, I'm looking for a man like my daddy.
I can understand them searching for a strong man, but doesn't it look like they end up dancing with dirty old men?
Well, you can put it in a lot of different ways.
I'd really like to find a wife. You know, I'm much older than average, but I try to stay in shape.
Surely there's many fine ladies back in New Jersey that would love to fall in love with you.
Well, that's really not my problem. Most of the women I run into love to fall in love with my paycheck rather than me. I mean,
Exactly. And then the same women who are doing this will turn around and say that, oh, you're going overseas to find a woman who's poor or desperate, and she just wants your money, and once she gets your money, you're done. And it's kind of interesting because smart men, realize that all women just want your money. But the key is that when you go overseas, you get better bang for your buck. And if you're at least conscious about it, you don't get married to them. You take care of them, you give them a little money here and there, and you maintain your distance to some degree, and you get what you want. Or if you do get married to them, know what you're doing, understand the laws of the country, ask yourself, do you even really need to marry this woman to be with her? To be very honest with you, not most of the time the answer is no. For example, if you go to the Philippines and you meet a Filipina in the Philippines, you don't need to marry her. Okay? She has won the lottery just being in a relationship with you. If you're a good man and you say, okay, well, listen, let's be in a relationship. We can even have children, but we're not getting married. She has won the lottery just being in a relationship with you. Very few Filipinas are going to turn that down. Okay? It's the honest to goodness truth. And you have to understand that just because they're raised to be wives and mothers does not mean that they're still not women and that they still won't cheat on you or they won't plot to divorce you and take what you have. Oh, the Filipino wouldn't do that. Oh, if something goes wrong in the marriage, it has to be something that you did to the Filipina. There's some terrible men in this world. There are some men who take advantage of Filipinas. But let me make this clear. That doesn't make Filipinas virtuous. A lot of men go there and get scammed, and then they come back and they want to cry to Uncle Angry. Some men don't even make it out of the country. I had this one joker, one idiot, all right? And he's guy's a fucking idiot. This is back when I first started up the channel. Pops up on the channel, starts talking to me, says that he wants to go on like a Filipina dating website and find himself a woman. I know that Filipina dating website. I immediately tell him, be very careful. That website is known for scammers. On the website, they even tell you that you have to be very careful because a lot of the women on the website are actually men, posing as women, and they find that a lot of these men are over, and they said they're not discriminating against anyone or are creating stigmas against anyone, but a lot of the men posing as women are in Africa, posing as women and trying to scam men of their money. So what ends up happening? I don't see this guy for a couple of months. I warn him about the website, and then he comes back and tells me he got scammed on the website. And of course, I unleash on the guy, and I haven't seen him since. And let me bet, he's just an angry, he's a terrible jerk. And listen to me, it's Uncle Angry to you. It's Uncle Angry to you. All right? When you say my name, you put Sama at the end of it because I am teaching you. And you don't want to listen. Listen, you get screwed over and then you want to act like every man should forgive. Every man needs to feel sorry for you and we should blame every woman on earth. Guys, here's the truth. A lot of men walk into these things because the average man doesn't even know what to look for in a good woman. And they don't understand just because she comes across as a good woman doesn't mean that she still may not screw you over. Because a lot of women know how to emulate the qualities that a man is looking for. And then once she has him hooked, once they're married and the relationship is set, she starts to pull back. No more physical intimacy. Okay? She doesn't want to shot. She's dinner starts to arrive late, or then she just doesn't make it at all. There's nothing in the house. Look at Steven Crowder. What happened to this guy? Evidently, he was a virgin when he married his wife. He's not an ugly guy. He was a virgin when he married his wife. He did the whole religious bullshit. Oh, I'm going to be religious and I'm going to marry this woman and blah, blah, blah. And she's a godly girl and this. And what ends up happening? She records him and edits a video so it makes it look like he was an abusive guy. divorces him, files for divorce, and he's saying in the video that, he meets his obligations as a husband. She's not meeting her obligations as a wife. And she's like calling him sick in the video. And Candace Owens immediately goes after him and starts saying that she wants to give that woman a platform. See, women are very gullible. The reality of it is that she was setting him up. She knew exactly what she was doing. She did everything she did everything right in front of the video camera so that she could record it and use it in court. And then she put out an edited video that doesn't show the entire conversation, but only a small snippet to make it look like he's demanding and calling him sick. Stephen, I love you, but you're sick. He's sick? Has this man ever put hands on you? Has this man ever threatened you? Has this man ever denied you of anything? Absolutely not. So she's like totally preggo now. And, he's basically saying to her that she's not doing her job as a wife. And it seems like she really is. Like, there's a lot of context missing. Most women can't be bothered. Most women just want to chill. They want a man to give them everything. Most women today cannot provide for themselves. What do I mean provide? They cannot cook for themselves. They cannot clean for themselves because they've been told that that's patriarchy. These women are facing some very hard times. And a lot of these older women that are acting like they're doing wonderful in old age, they're lying. They are lying. Guys, they've sold their humanity, and they sit at home and they cry alone in their rooms by themselves. They have no friends. A lot of times their friends have passed away or abandoned them because they had their own issues. And now they're alone. They're alone and they're miserable, but they'll never admit to it because they're going to stay on that hill until the very end. And every so often you hear a woman admit that, women are just lying, and they'll act like they're doing wonderfully, and they'll put videos up on TikTok of gardening and building stuff for themselves and doing all this repair work. There was a woman I saw a video by this woman, and she talked about how she did she bought like a house, and she watched YouTube videos, and she learned how to do all the work, contractual work on the house herself. And she rebuilt the entire house and remodeled the entire house, and she did all of it on her own, right? And now she has this beautiful house for herself. And she says, how does she feel at the end of it? Absolutely miserable. Okay? She had to do all of that labor on her own. She had to spend all of her free time doing all of that work on her own. She would much rather be making sandwiches and bringing a man a cup of lemonade, making sandwiches and bringing him food and lemonade. She would much rather have a man doing all of that hard labor that she had to do on her own. She'd much rather be a wife and a mother and make the home look nice and hospitable than be doing all of that on her own. She'd much rather have a family than an empty house to herself. It's kind of funny, guys. That's the reality that a lot of women are heading into. They'll have these homes, and there's no one in it. No children, no husband, no one. And this life of sex in the city, they get older, and now they're too old. They can't, the streets, they're too old, and they want to go to the streets, but they're too old for the streets. They're too old to be out on the streets. So they sit at home and they're alone. And they have very few friends now because many of their friends have passed on or left them. And that's it. That's how they live. And it starts to get frightening, and their mind starts to go. Yeah, but they don't tell you any of this. They put on a front, and they go and tell young women that young women can do it too, and that they've lived wonderful lives, and they have pictures of all the places that they've traveled and been to. Yeah, they're not really going anywhere anymore. And the reality is that they have to skip meals because they don't have money. It's hilarious, guys. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. This is what women have done, and now they are facing consequences for what they have done. They are facing extraordinary consequences for the choices that they have made. And that is the reality of it. They said, men, we don't want you. And now, after running around with Chad and Tyrone, they're discovering the consequences, and women hate consequences.
This is pure gold. Here's the major difference. Like I always say, Women are women first, but the environment, society, and culture influence how women will treat you. Women all over the world want your money. You will always pay. That's how the game is played. But as long as you provide the resources, many foreign cultures don't mind an age gap.
Does age worry you at all? Because there does seem to be some very big age differences here. The girls are very young.
Yeah, it does worry me, but here it doesn't seem to worry them.
What makes the foreign woman more appealing is the exchange of femininity, appreciation, and affection. You will immediately notice the difference in women who haven't been poisoned by feminism. Because of that, these women become more attractive in a man's eyes. But don't forget, they are still women first. Check this out.
How do I understand what today is all about here?
Oh, today just ladies want to find their soulmate, and I think men came for the same reason.
What sort of a man are you looking for?
Oh, I'm looking for fairy tale.
This is pure gold. Gold, baby. No matter where you are, women still suffer from Disney princess syndrome.
It's not long before Owen takes on the role of Prince Charming.
You love it. You've got to stay out of the sun. That's just sensational. I like it.
And that explains the next clip.
Hello, I am Anastasia. I look for the husband. I want husband. I don't know, maybe a Europe man, maybe American man.
What about a Ukrainian man?
I don't like Ukrainian men.
I hear this all the time. Foreign women associate Western European and North American men with romance. It's not surprising. Hollywood, music, and media drive that image. So when they flock to these dating events, they are looking for an opportunity to live that dream. But here's the thing, it's not about love, it's about opportunity. And men are providing it. This is the same issue with Western women. A lot of them don't like their own men, saying they would rather be alone in the woods with a bear. Grizzle.
A lot of women said that they would rather be alone in the woods with the bear, and now they're going to face extremely hard times. And by the way, guys, regarding hard times, many of you guys know over 10 years ago, I experienced homelessness and I survived, and now I am thriving. There's a lot of guys, and even today, guys, I am still using the system in a variety of ways to reduce my cost of living, and while I bank my money. So, we have a course for you guys. You've been asking for it for a long time. It's how to survive and thrive using community resources. And you're going to learn how to survive and thrive using the government, community resources. You get a 12-lesson crash course on using government and community resources to secure money, food, housing, healthcare, and more to reduce costs and thrive. It's an incredible value. I want you guys to go and check it out. The link to it is in the description of this video, so you can go and check that out, guys. And begin thriving because this world is a joke. Right now, this world is at a standstill. And the most important thing that you can do for yourself is to understand that no one is going to take care of you. No one is going to help you. That's something that men have to understand. But you also have to know how to be able to, take care of yourself and to see opportunities. All right. Don't just think that you can buy your way out of everything. And also, guys, with that said and out of the way, I wanted to remind you guys to go and check out the Angry Guy Clubhouse. We have the Angry Guy Clubhouse. It's really awesome. We publish new articles over there. The most recent article is The Fall of the Roman Empire, a tale of lost knowledge and dark ages. Okay. And it's very interesting. It talks about how, the role that women played in the fall of the Roman Empire and everything that we lost. So definitely check that out. We also have things such as choosing a girlfriend is like hiring. So we have articles. We have articles. We have guides for paid members. We have notes. We have chats. We have podcasts. We have everything that you guys could want. So go and check this out. We have stuff for Gen X. We have when men learn to be alone, women find them alone. There's a link to this. There's a link to the Angry Guy Clubhouse in the description of the video, so that you guys can go and check that out and really enjoy yourselves on that. It's a place where we can talk amongst ourselves and really just have fun and also learn. And just to make it very clear, when you sign up when you join the Angry Guy Clubhouse, you're also going to get a copy of our passive income blueprint. So we just dropped a new blueprint for you guys. It's not the old blueprint. It's a brand new blueprint so those of you that didn't sign up before. Now we have a brand new blueprint, and you'll get a copy of our passive income blueprint, and the link is in the description if you want to go and check that out. It's really, really awesome because it's going to teach you how to make passive income very easily, how to secure this, how to build wealth rapidly, and so that you can replace that 9-to-5 job, because things are getting ridiculous out here. What do you guys think regarding all of this? Men going their own way are disrupting the economy. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWM and walking away. And cheers.